support formulas, so they create an immediate overview of what we're talking about. We've grown so fast in terms of assortment that we haven't found our optimal way yet. We'll be working on it, no problem. I just wanted to mention these are the totally new formulas that we have, and they are developed based on the demand. And also based on whatever we are going through in our lives. So Mode Detox was a tribute to my getting healthy from like 4 years plus many more years of like real difficulties with health. So Colon Plus has been developed for the people who have slow metabolism due to slow thyroid or other dysfunctions in their body. It's stronger. Senna, it's stronger than the other colon cleanse. Then we have Eye Bright, because Hang doesn't believe in deteriorating eyes, just as in deteriorating body. So he's working on his eyes with exercise and herbally, and so he found out a great formula that really changes the vision to the better. And there's joint health, because so many people have problems with their joints. We didn't call it arthritis or anti-arthritis, again for legal reasons. We're trying to sort of square ourselves in the legal in the legal limits. So that's why they're here down here. And I'll be starting today with a cleanse formulas. It's important because that's how we always start working on the health, with a cleanse. A deep and proper and profound cleanse. That's when we work on health, when we take health seriously. And that's based on the experience over 20 years working with Western city clients in many countries, and these formulas are designed to really have effect in the modern times. So first, I'd like to present our formulas for intestine cleanse. Colon cleanse, that's our classics. Then we have the colon cleanse plus. Then we have the intestine brew. And well, excuse me, I'll add here, which is not a classic for the cleanse, but it's important for the gut, it's the anti-parasite formula. With these 4, you can clean up your gut in as short as 3 months. And those who have been on the detox journey, you've probably done the juice detox, water fast, maybe a single fruit diet, and maybe colonics. And all these things work to some extent. See, the thing is, when you do the dry fast or the water fast or the juice detox or the juice feast or whatever you do in the terms of eliminating the solid foods, you're doing real help to your body. Your digestive system can rest, recuperate, and you cleanse on the cellular level. There's a little downside to it, as long as we still have the toxicity in the gut, in those 12 plus meters of intestine. It will very likely re-intoxicate our body again after our really successful cleanse in some other way. So if you do a great fast and you want to keep the results, if you've lost weight and you want to stay with this beautiful new light feeling, you'll have to clean out the gut. And actually, I met this woman who was working in the area of beauty and helping women to lose weight with all sorts of beautiful methods and not cheap methods. And she said, I don't know, I haven't figured it out what exactly it is. The person can be beautiful and lean and having lost all their fat, but then there's this tummy. And this tummy, which even a skinny person will have, is the main problem. For the main reason that there is the toxicity sitting inside there from which you can regain your extra weight within short 6 months without any effort or even eating the best, leanest foods. And that's what we really want to get rid of. And that should be actually the main part, the first part, and the ABC of every cleanse you do. Had you had the information? I want to also talk about enemas and colonics. There is also something called Shan Prakshalana, when you drink amazing amounts of salt water and do some exercise, and then you start emptying the guts in the process. These are great things, and they make you feel lighter, and they really also bring your attention to the emotional loads which you've been carrying in the intestine. You do purge. When you do a colonics, you purge emotionally, and you feel lighter after that, and it's great. It's like instant relief, having relieved a couple of kgs of what you had in the gut. If a couple of kgs is a possibility during a colonic session. I haven't been to one, so I'm not quite informed, but maybe with a very successful therapist who can help you really relax and let go and get out really a lot of that material, you may have that very light feeling and healthier skin after, and happier mood. A little step at a time, right? There's a little problem. So when you insert the water through your anus, there's the descending part of the colon. Here's the how you call it? Just the flat transverse part of the colon. Here's the ascending part of the colon, right? Here the digested food ascends from the small intestine, and here it moves towards the place where it can exit your body. So the colonics can get to here. All that water that you get in your intestines can get to here, to the end of the beginning of the transverse intestine. Technically, and then it can technically take away the upper layer of that substance that you have in your intestines. This has been filling your intestines, that has been built up in your intestines over many, many years. And to make it sound a little more dramatic, imagine this substance, which is comparable to the tire of a car, because it's been like settling there and drying and dehydrating from the intestine taking in the water, and from our lack of hydration anyway, because who of us drinks those 3 to 4 liters of water a day? So it's been creating itself until the intestine, the large intestine, from this normal size that it would have, comes to about this size, right? And you can actually check how big your intestine is and how hard it is. Imagine the pipe, which has like sediments this thick on it on both sides, and where the hole is just this big for all the ways to exit. And with a session of colonics, you can only move so far through that substance which is covering your large intestine from inside. And there's another little matter that there's one species that don't worry about the material being a little bit more hard, and that's the parasites. So basically this mass of dried feces, this beautiful creation with a little tunnel inside for removing the waste from your intestines, is full of nice little holes and nests and habitat for those parasites of different kinds, big and small, and thick and skinny. And they may be a tapeworm, and the tapeworm would be also inhabiting your small intestine, and it's not uncommon. And they all have their ways of survival and their ways of damping the immune system. They excrete all sorts of enzymes for you to have like more appetite for sweets and less appetite for healthy things, and they get their food from you. You are the great helper, and that's how we function. And the more parasites, the better helper we get. We just get manipulated by them. And that's how it is. And then with colonics, you may remove a little bit of that shift of the inside of the intestine so that your mass from the small intestine can move towards the exit a little bit better. But what about the parasites? Pure water doesn't take them out. And even coffee doesn't. If you do the coffee enema, it just doesn't. It just doesn't hit the pot. It just like, it works slightly superficially. And even 10 sessions of colonics can only go so far. So then about the Shan Prakshalana, for most people, it does not work at the beginning. They just start absorbing that salt water and they have to wee for another 4 hours to get that salt water out of the system. But if it works, then we're again facing the same problem. We have 12 meters of tube wired inside our body in all sorts of beautiful ways, all little corners and edges and curves. And then it ends with this large intestine, which again has this type of a little hole in between left for any movement. And it has only limited effects, especially if you do it once. It just can help you so much. It can help you feel better for a whole week, definitely. But how much better? What's the percentage of possibility? And about the sustainability of the results, you answer your questions yourself. So why the herbal way can go deeper and why it takes 3 months for a regular person in their 40s. It's simple. It works slow. Like every time you take capsules and you keep increasing them because your body gets used to them, you lose the purging effect. So you keep increasing them, right? So slowly and slowly and slowly you start dissolving all those layers from the inside outwards, and they get moved out of the body while killing the parasites slowly without creating a major detox reaction. Just a layer at a time, a bit at a time. Those herbs in the colon cleanse, there is like wormwood, black walnut hull, pumpkin seed, and cloves. To some extent, even neem and sembiloto, they remove parasites. Cloves have the effect of removing the parasite eggs. They work on the parasites in the earliest stage of the life cycle. And the other ones work on the parasites in all the different types of the stages in their development, and they work on all different types of parasites, because the parasites really have all sorts of very strong mechanisms how to survive inside a human body. So this colon cleanse will be removing them slowly. So it could say that in 4 weeks your parasites will be out of your system. And also a big part of your waste. And you have to give it a break for a week, because it's a hard work for the body to be removing that waste of the large intestine. 3 months. Sometimes it works with 2 months if a person has been eating a lot of fiber already and having a lot of water and having a lot of fruits, all those enzymes which keep our digestive system going. It may work within 2 times 4 weeks, within 2 cycles that your intestines are really empty already. And then they can heal. The intestinal walls can start healing, self-healing themselves for the better absorption, and also your intestinal flora can start developing itself, replenishing itself, to the point that you really have your immunity back. Because for good immunity, the first thing we really need to have is good working intestinal flora. But often the matter of dehydration and the matter of lacking fiber in the food, also having gluten without fiber It adds some extra to this beautiful crust within the intestine, this beautiful, really thick, tire-like substance. You'll need a third course to really move it out completely. And sometimes it will be 4 courses, 4 times 4 weeks, with 1 week in between, 1 week of a break. And sometimes people do have a tummy which is this big. They talk about the bear tummy, but it's not the bear tummy, it's the parasite tummy, for goodness sakes. Imagine the content of the tummy there, it's not nice. And to move that out through the anus, it will take time. And you're really looking to have empty intestines where the osteopath or Chinei Tsang therapist will go with their hand and they reach your backbone. And they did it with me and they were surprised. I say, no, I've been doing that colon cleanse. You want to try? Yes, I do want to try. I see the result. So you want to have this empty intestine, which only has the food of yesterday inside, which is working, which is pumping, which is sort of having these healthy palpitations to bring the food constantly forwards to those 12 meters in a beautiful rhythm of a dance. That's what you want to have. That's where you're going, and so you'll need those. Normally 2 to 4 courses. For people of the age of 20 years, usually 1 course is enough. 4 weeks, but not less than that. I haven't seen a person who can do with less than that. And again, you'll feel good results. You'll feel better even after 3 weeks. You can choose to stop. I mean, if you do what you always did, you'll choose to stop. I feel better. I forget those pills. I don't want to remember about them. I don't want to go to the toilet 4 times a day. Who wants that? I mean, I'm a busy person. I'm a successful person. And it's a little bit of a headache to be always looking for where the next toilet is. Well, actually, the thing is that the process is not so urgent. It's your normal life. You just go to the toilet more often. You don't have to urgently run there. So these excuses I do not recognize as truth, but it's more about our habits. Whether we have the habit of going to the end in terms of our health and how much we want to invest. Maybe it's more important for us to get the better Nikes for our jogging, or maybe they came out with a new pair of like some new style of the high heels, and I mean, you really got to follow the fashion. Maybe you don't have the money, don't have the cash for your health, but I mean, it's your choice. I mean, it's better, actually for me, it's more economical to be clean from inside and not need any makeup than to spend these like bucks, hundreds of bucks a month to cover my blemishes on the skin. I mean, it's my choice. I mean, it's my choice to have a good skin, and that comes from clean intestines in the first place. And I mean, I really want to say it's about the choice of how far you want to go, because the possibilities are pretty much infinite, combining the knowledge of healthy lifestyle and good herbs. So it was more or less about the colon cleanse. 3 to 4 courses of 2 to 4 courses of 4 weeks each to completely clean out the guts to the point that the large intestine starts functioning in a really healthy way. So we actually, in the original formula that Hung used for his first formula that he created, this formula is from Mikio Sanki, who is a very capable acupuncturist. He is from Japan. He has developed his esoteric acupuncture. He's one of the first and main teachers of my husband, of Hung, on his own journey to be a healing practitioner. So he took that formula over and he worked on it a little bit using our local ingredients from Indonesia, which are the neem and sembeloto. He had a couple more. And we have eliminated the senna, because it's actually known that senna makes your body slightly dependent. If you start taking senna only to be able to go to the toilet, after some time your body won't want to function without the senna. That's a little bit of a hazard, and then it also could create a bit of cramps in your intestine. That's not pleasant. You want to have it smooth. We really try to make it really easy and pleasurable, all that process of cleanse. But as there's really many people for who the colon cleanse does not work because their digestion, their metabolism is too slow. So Hang came up with this stronger formula. It's called Colon Cleanse Plus Extra Purge, and it does have senna. And it has some more things. It has licorice. It has licorice, which tends to soothe, which has a capacity to soothe the tissues of the body, the different tissue of the body. And as cassia seed and cat's claw, which are anti-inflammatory, and Andrographis cembillotto. Hang has taken out some of the herbs to replenish them with more potent herbs in terms of cleansing and healing the intestine. For this colon cleanse extra purge, it does have senna. But if you think about it, if your intestine does not work because it's too clogged, it's not healthy, the intestinal walls are inflamed, and all these things because the toxicity is slowing down your whole metabolism, take that senna for those 3 times 4 weeks and move it out and heal the intestine that you probably won't need it already because your intestine can work by itself. So there's always a balance of effects and counter effects. So those who have a problem with slow metabolism will choose this colon cleanse plus. And it does have the anti-parasite effect as well. Then we're moving over to intestine broom. We have tried to create the names that explain our story from the first glance. It goes into those areas of the small intestine, in all those curves and caves there, in those about 10-11 meters of small intestine, which is usually clogged with mucus. The intestinal walls are really clogged with mucus. They would normally have the little villi, the little creations which move like constantly moving the food through the intestine, and also they have a lot of surface. They have a lot of surface to absorb the nutrients. But if they're all really covered in this thick layer of mucus, a little hardened mucus, they cannot move, they cannot absorb, there's a problem. And no real good intestinal flora can grow there either. So we want to free that small intestine from that mucus. And that's done with the help of the intestine broom. It has many nice things, including bentonite clay, psyllium husk, and activated charcoal. And that really works on neutralizing the acidity inside the small intestine, pulling out the toxicity out on the cellular level of those little villis, and moving out the mucus. And it works really well. When I start taking this, however healthy I am or however no tummy I seem to have, I really get wonders out of my intestine, and it's pretty visible and obvious. So there's a lot that the small intestine hides. And that's a good follow-up after the colon cleanse. And sometimes people could take it also if they're too weak to take the colon cleanse. It doesn't have the anti-parasite effect. It works much slower, much gentler, in a different way. It's a nice one. It's a nice one for pregnant women too, and for those who breastfeed. It's much gentler than the colon cleanse. So use it as a follow-up most of the time, or in certain situations where you can't handle the colon cleanse because of the state of your intestines. And then it also has the aloe vera and Cape aloe. The Cape aloe, that means 2 kinds of aloe vera. It's got nice things there. A slippery elm to smooth the intestinal walls and improve the digestion because, you know, giving them a little bit of moisture. And of course neem, and then amla, which is really known to have this healing effect on your body. It's more about healing the intestinal walls, to move out the mucus gently and to work on the whole length that has remained after the colon cleanse, however good that was. So that's for your knowledge, we have it. It actually makes a pretty complete line of colon cleanse. Really in terms of colon cleanse, it really covers your needs and it works, I would say 95% of the cases. There is this little problem that sometimes people do not react well to the herbs, always. There's no herb which will fit everyone's needs. And there's a little possibility also that you're really holding on those things emotionally to the point that your system is not ready to release. Then it's good to work on your subconscious, let's say do some hypnotherapy or what, or even relaxing deeply so your system can start moving that stuff in the intestine and become healthy from within. Sometimes the emotional or the metaphysical aspect is just too strong. The physical is following that because, you know, for the sake of protecting the human, protecting the psyche maybe, our body acts in a very wise way. But you probably will need to look deeper into it and address what's underneath to really move on with your process. It's those extra layers there. And then there are some of those cases which are unusual and atypical, and you haven't heard of them probably, but some people have this very weak spleen and pancreas, so they do not produce enough digestive enzymes, especially weak spleen, has this effect that you eat and the thing comes out at the other end in a slightly liquid but totally undigested form. You have a form of diarrhea going on your whole life for many years. In those cases, you really want to avoid extra purging action because you want to keep those few nutrients that move through your system inside you. You don't want to move them out. You can get depleted even more. So for those cases, we start with the anti-parasite formula. It's to stabilize your stools. This is actually an anti-diarrhea formula as well. So and it heals the intestines at the same time. So it will remove the bug which you may be having. You may be having a weak spleen and then some ongoing amoeba from somewhere in Asia or wherever you got it for many years. A little bit chronic there. We've met people like that. And in these cases, you have to start with the anti-parasite for those 3-4 weeks until your stool normalizes, until your digestion is able to take the cleanse. And interestingly, even if you had diarrhea for 4 of your last years, you are very likely to still have a congested colon. So after this, you would start with a cleanse just normal. Start with a colon or colon plus and move to intestine broom. First, you got to fix your intestines and your digestive system with this anti-parasite. So with this, I think a big segment of the need is covered. I'm proud of our line for the intestine cleanse. Yeah. Right.
A quick question.
Yes.
Between the first two you talked about, the complex and the plus one.
Yeah.
Would you kind of mix it, is there a way that, would you combine them if you were doing a whole series? Like, do you want one or the other, or stick with one?
The best, I wouldn't combine them on the same day.
No, I mean...
But I would. It's actually a really good point. As soon as your intestine is able to move what's inside, you just go to the normal colon cleanse. It's really for the extreme cases. It's for those people who have suffered of congestion, real constipation for many years, who cannot go to the toilet for a week sometimes, or 3 days is enough of not being able to go to the toilet. So then only you use the colon cleanse. As soon as you get to the point of 1 normal bowel movement a day, take that normal colon, instead of colon cleanse plus. Yeah, that's the way you combine. And then you go into the finer details. And what you always can do if you know that you're really badly full of parasites, you can combine any of these with some little extra anti-parasite. And if you only want the parasite action, anti-parasite action without the purging action, maybe for children, for instance, then you would take like to each one anti-parasite, you would take one colon cleanse. You don't get congested, you do not get diarrhea, you just stay as you always were with the effect of moving parasites out. It just sort of balances each other to help you avoid like any of those effects, purging effect or stool, what do you call that? Yeah, stool retention effect, yeah. Something like that, thank you. I sometimes don't have the right terms, so really grateful for your help. All right. I'm trying to figure out what's the best thing to do. You know what? I'll leave that in the background because it's really how it builds up. You do clean the colon while you also work on the other parts of your body. Now I want to feature kidney cleanse and liver and blood health at the same time. That is, while you're still taking the colon, you can add in these with a lot of success.